Welcome to Get Out Go. I'm Christoph. Join me as I go camping in Nxai and the Makgadikgadi. This trip would see a few firsts for me. I'm travelling to central Botswana to start doing campsite reviews outside of South Africa. I'm joined by two other YouTubers, which I'll introduce later, and we're doing this in the summer months. Botswana seems to be a different country in summer. It comes with a few challenges, but the rewards are well worth it. Join me now as we start looking for great camp spots in southern Africa. This episode proudly brought to you by Conqueror Northgate and Midrand. We leave the concrete jungle of Joburg in the very early morning as we have a long drive ahead of us as well as a border crossing. We're each towing a trailer, not because we need it, but to test them in real African outback conditions. Our first stop is Khumaga Rhino Sanctuary, around 7 hours drive from Joburg. Khumaga is a community-based wildlife project better known for being a good stopover to and from central and northern Botswana. For me, it's much more than that though. The campsites are great. Aside from the group sites, they're all nicely separated to the extent that it feels like you're by yourself in the bush. Our Conqueror trailer is made for a very comfortable stay though. Although this was only a stopover, we had some time, so we hit the trails in search of game. Gets a little wet here in summer, but nothing a stock 4x4 can't handle. One area where Khumaga certainly doesn't disappoint is wildlife. Khumaga is the best place to see white rhino in Botswana. This wildlife sanctuary has significantly contributed to the survival of rhinos in southern Africa, helping to increase populations and protect both black and white rhinos along with over 30 other wildlife species. Species that have been reintroduced into Khumaga include giraffe, blue wildebeest, Burchell zebra, eland, gemsbok and springbok, all of which are frequently sighted on game drives. The sanctuary is also home to several wild animal populations that have flourished since the protected area was established, such as kudu, steenbok, duiker and many smaller animals. In recent years, a number of animals have also been spotted passing through the sanctuary, such as cheetah, African wild dog and even a solitary elephant. Morning, on our way to Nxai. Had an early start about 4:30 this morning. Just finishing packing up and we'll be out of here. Quite enjoyed Khumaga. On to the next stretch. The drive to South Camp in Nxai is another long one, 7 to 8 hours depending on the road conditions. Best is to leave early and take it slow. I don't recommend driving at night anywhere in Africa. I mentioned earlier that I'm travelling with two other gents, Ed from Edward Bath Overlanding and Ryan from 4x4 Ventures. I've added links to their YouTube channels in the description below. Go have a look and subscribe. The last fuel stop before entering the park is Rockhops. However, fuel availability is not guaranteed. We filled up at Mopipi instead. Note that the diesel you find here is 500 ppm and not necessarily very clean either. Nxai is located on the western edge of the fossil pan from which it takes its name, and adjoins the Makgadikgadi Pans National Park on its northern border. The pan is open to visitors throughout the year, although road conditions can become quite difficult during times of heavy rain. We wanted to see how our off-road trailers would fare in these conditions. Regardless of the time of year, make sure to air down your tyres before heading out into the thick sand and corrugated gravel roads. From the main gate there are two roads to South Camp. Inquire at reception which is better at the time. It takes anything from an hour and a half to 3 hours to reach South Camp, depending on the road conditions. We've reached South Camp in Nxai. It took about 8 hours of some arduous driving. Probably the worst bit being the roads inside the national park, varying from really thick sand to some very badly corrugated roads. Still doable with a 4x4. We've set up camp and it is hot. It is in the high 30°Cs. There are 10 campsites with shared ablutions at South Camp. After some shuffling around, we found a site that could accommodate all 3 trailers and vehicles. The sites range from full day shade to very limited like ours. We had enough awnings to go around, fortunately. I like the campsites. We're on number 10. They apparently allocate 8, 9 and 10 in rainy season, as some of the other campsites can flood. It was time to unhitch again and see what Nxai has to offer. Even though it had been raining, the roads around South Camp were not bad at all. There is a good road network to quite a few waterholes, grass plains as well as some thick bush. Been on a couple of game drives. We haven't seen any predators, but we literally saw thousands of zebras, so that was a great sighting. When it starts raining in Nxai, zebras start migrating south. You can expect to see this migration end of February to early March. These herds of zebra mingle with the resident animals including eland, gemsbok and hartebeest. There is also an abundance of bird life here, especially in the rainy season. We also saw large numbers of elephants, both at the waterholes and close to camp. Predators include lion, leopard and cheetah, but we only heard lion close to camp, didn't see any. It's our last night at South Camp and tomorrow we head for Baines Baobabs. Looking forward to that one. And for good reason. The sites at Baines are bush campsites. The drive from South Camp to Baines is around 30 kilometers but takes at least 2 hours. There are 2 access roads into Baines. Ask at South Camp reception which is best at the time. Baines Baobabs are named after artist and adventurer Thomas Baines. The campsites aren't actually located at the Baines Baobab site itself. Camping at the trees themselves is not permitted, but there are 3 beautiful private campsites nearby that allow easy access and have baobabs of their own. So we're at Baines Baobabs. It was quite a tough drive here from South Camp, but boy is it worth it. These campsites are really nice. The campsites are unfenced and exclusive and are spaced a couple of kilometers apart around the local Kadia camp Ban. More of that in my campsite review. Tracks for Africa, and in fact the map you get from Nxai's reception shows the campsites at Baines Baobabs themselves, where in fact it's actually on the other side of the pan. So do check the GPS coordinates. Whether you're camping here or not, a visit to the main Baines site is a must. The 7 enormous baobabs and the island where they arise have changed very little since Baines painted them in 1862. Another big attraction is driving around the pans. Stay on the tracks though, and preferably on the edge of the pans. You don't want to get stuck here or destroy the pans either for that matter. It was time to hit the road again, but not before an unexpected stop at Nata. More of that in Ed and Ryan's videos. We aired down again for another sandy stretch to Khumaga camp in the Makgadikgadi. Reaching camp, we set up for 2 nights again. Nice campsite, but not without its problems. We've arrived at Khumaga campsite, and I must say I'm a little disappointed. Right along the Buteti River is just livestock. It's cattle, it's donkeys, it's horses, goats, you name it. So I'm not exactly sure why we're paying park fees if this is not a national park anymore. Having said all of that, we still had some great game drives up and down the Buteti River. Lots of bird life, illies and hippo. Campsites are pretty nice. We're on number 10, which is probably the best of the lot. I'll obviously do a full campsite review a little bit later on. There are 10 campsites at Khumaga, and although it isn't a bush camp, some of the sites are fairly private. As I mentioned though, having livestock in and around camp really detracted from the experience. Incidentally, if you didn't know, I've got an interactive map of all my bush and rustic campsites on my website, so please have a look in the description below. Regardless of the niggles, African night sky is spent with great company made up for this in spades. And just like that, 11 days had passed and it was time to head back to Kama and Joburg. This was definitely a most memorable destination. We've reached Kama Rhino Sanctuary, so effectively this is the end of our trip as we head back to Joburg. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully it's the first of many Southern Africa trips and campsite reviews. Until next time, get out there.